I just remember growing up with this heart for missions. I think I was influenced as a little girl from seeing missionaries in my home church where I grew up. And so that's something I remember dreaming about.
Hi there, I'm Erin Vanderhayden, and I have the privilege of serving Grace Church PCA as the Community Service and Outreach Coordinator. Mission is one of the 4 core values that Grace Church holds dear, along with community, worship, and gospel. While the church itself is still a mission church, the leadership has felt called to expand our local service efforts to missions worldwide. I'm so excited to introduce to you today Grace Church's first international missionary, Kersten Kazen. She will be serving with Mission to the World in London, England. Thank you so much for being here today, Kersten. What will you be doing when you are deployed to London, Lord willing, this fall?
Sure. So for the past about 4 years, I've actually been working at past pregnancy care centers here in the Chicagoland area, running our Lansing Center. And I'm going to be doing much the same kind of work over in London. I'm actually going to be working and living in Ealing, which is a borough in the western part of the city. And I'm going to be serving with the International Presbyterian Church in Ealing, or IPC Ealing, in order to help them build a crisis pregnancy center for women in their community.
So why did you choose London, or did you? What's going on there?
Sure. Well, it does feel like it chose me, or God chose it in a lot of senses. But I've had a heart for European missions in general for quite a while. It's so interesting because the UK, like a lot of European countries, has sort of a rich heritage of faith, but it's just very secular and post-Christian these days. Actually, currently fewer than 3% of adults living in the UK are connected to a gospel-proclaiming church. So there's a huge need for the gospel. And then in Ealing, in London specifically, there's a huge need for a pregnancy center as well. IPC Ealing sits just a mile from one of the largest abortion clinics in the entire country. This particular clinic performed more than 7,000 abortions in 2019. And not only are we talking about a massive clinic, but actually it's also the only legally protected clinic in the country. There currently is a buffer zone law which says that you can't come within 100 meters of this abortion clinic to pray or to reach out to women or hand out leaflets or what have you. So essentially IPC Ealing is sitting in the shadow of this huge abortion clinic. There aren't currently any pregnancy centers, and with the buffer zone law, there's really no way to reach these women. So just a tremendous need right in the neighborhood for a pregnancy center.
So when you and I talked before, you expressed how happy you were that you were going to be serving alongside a local church. Why do you think that's so important?
Sure, absolutely. I am so excited that this ministry is coming out of the local church. And really that's because, first of all, my vision is that we are reaching out to moms, providing a safe space and empowering them to carry their babies to term, to choose life for their babies. But even more than that, it is so critical to what we do that we are sharing the gospel, sharing the hope of Christ with these women. And that's where the local church comes in, because I really believe that the gospel is best shared in community and through relationships. So it's my hope and my vision that as the pregnancy center is coming out of IPC Ealing, we'll see women coming into the church, being evangelized, discipled, and ultimately growing as part of the body of Christ.
So it seems that God has carefully crafted the experiences that brought you here. Can you share a little bit about that process?
Absolutely. Well, to share really my call to missions, I have to go back a good 20 years. But I just remember growing up with this heart for missions. I think I was influenced as a little girl from seeing missionaries in my home church where I grew up. And so that's something I remember dreaming about. I also actually started volunteering at past pregnancy centers when I was 15 years old. And I did that because I just remember becoming cognizant of abortion and thinking, well, I think this is wrong, so what am I going to do about this? Then for me, when I was in college, that was a time when I really wrestled with this idea of missions and the call to missions. And I actually had the opportunity to go and serve with a church in Stockholm in Sweden, which, as I mentioned, really opened my eyes to the need in Europe specifically. After that point, there were several years when I kind of dreamed of going back in the future, and I didn't have the opportunity right away. But God was working in my waiting. He drew me nearer to Him. He brought me back to past to work and to gain ministry experience. And so it's amazing to look in hindsight and see how He has woven these pieces of my life together and brought me to where I am today.
So tell us, how can we as a church and we as individuals support you during your time in London?
Sure. Well, right now, my biggest tangible need is for financial support. And what I've been working to do is build a monthly support budget, which is going to allow me to live and to serve in London. I'm very excited because my goal is to be able to leave in September, October, which is when the church would like to have the center up and running. So really, I need people to come alongside me and partner so that I can go and serve these women in Ealing. Beyond that, though, I would just say truly the most important way that you can support this ministry is through prayer. And in my time at PASS, I've just seen again and again how important prayer is to this ministry, because truly the Lord is the one who changes hearts. So specifically, I would just ask that people are praying that my support comes in. Pray for the church in Ealing. Right now, they're working very hard, Lord willing, to get things ready to go and be functional in September. And ultimately, please be praying for these women in Ealing. Pray that women will come to our doorstep and that we will be able to serve them and alongside them, and that God will work in their hearts.
Absolutely. We will be praying that He prepares the field for you to go and work in, and we are so excited to hear updates as time goes on about all of the things that He is doing through you and through that church and the center that you're creating there.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.